Florida officials are taking away a woman's nursing license after they say she got caught having sex with her 15-year-old stepson. That news led us down a path of disturbing details that sheds light not only on the suspect's alleged actions, but the reaction from the victim's own family. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
Man, what's up with these women, man? And I'm not like 15. You are the trusted step parent, I guess, in that situation. What's going on with? There's such a high rate of women doing this. Like, are they bored? Is that what it is? Cause what could cause you to be like, all right, I'm gonna be the step parent to this kid, and then I'm gonna have intercourse with the kid on the side while I'm dating the father or mother. I don't know which one it is in this situation, but regardless, it's like what's crossing their mind to make these things happen, man. It seems like it's becoming like an epidemic type thing. I might need to check on this.
Registered nurse caught in a compromising
And
position
you're a
with her
registered
husband's
nurse.
15-year-old son. Quite the headline, I know. But that is what is apparently detailed in an arrest report from
What happened
Ocala,
to
Florida. Because
people?
now 35-year-old Alexis Yates, also known as Alexis Von Yates, is facing a charge of sexual battery on a person 12 to 18 years of age by a person in familial custody. So how did we get here?
What happened to
Talk about
people
it. I
having
wanna bring
respect
in
for themselves, man?
victims' rights lawyer John Phillips. John, thanks so much for coming back.
It's crazy. It's like nobody has respect for themselves no more. Like, you're a registered nurse. Used to be a job or a career that was held in high regard in society. And it's like everything is just going downhill now. Nobody has morals, nobody has principles. Like, you didn't think that this is going to bring a certain type of embarrassment to my family. You didn't think that by me doing this and being a registered nurse, I'm going to be barred from any type of nurse work from now on. You didn't think, like, there's so many things that goes through your mind when you think about this, but it's like these people have no regard for what the future is. What is there? Is it only short-term thinking? That's got to be what's going on.
According to the arrest affidavit, on the night of the incident, Yates had put the youngest children to bed and then started playing a video game or video games and watched a movie with this 15-year-old. And he claims that she let him use her THC vape pen. Now, around 1 a.m., they both apparently decide they're bored with watching the movie that they're apparently they're watching, which is when the teen claims that Yates started making these inappropriate sexual comments, including allegedly that she was horny.
All right.
And hadn't had sex in 2 weeks. Now the team.
So now, if that is the case, if you're deprived of, sexual stimulation, and you want to be intimate with somebody, where is the person's father at? 'Cause that's who you're in a relationship with. Why are you telling this to their child? Furthermore, this person is hanging out with the kid, which is not an issue with that. You can hang out with kids or whatever if you so choose to, and you're a step parent. I mean, it kind of makes sense. But I guess from what I understand, she had been making inappropriate remarks. So it's like this has been going on. Nobody said anything. I'm assuming the kid he's not gonna say nothing. Average teenager. He's probably thinking like, I don't know, maybe she's playing, or I don't know, maybe he had never mind. But anyway, regardless of the fact, this is still on her, which is, I mean, I don't, you're an adult, bro. Act like one. This is crazy. People say they want to be taken serious, but like, look what you're doing.
He told the interviewer that Yates had been making sexual jokes in front of him for approximately a week leading up to that night. According to the arrest affidavit, he also disclosed that he hadn't had any sort of sexual experience before and was essentially, I think it's fair to say, based on the characterization, maybe infatuated with Yates. So John, let's stop again. If this is all true, would this classify as grooming? Taking part in something the teen likes, the video games, giving the
All right, so I came across this video about this girl having HIV. The link will be in the bio. Y'all can support the creator. I think it's a good story to get certain information from because I feel like people miss the signs of when things are happening, and it's like there were too many in this situation. So let's get into it.
I never told anyone this except for my family. My family does know this. A lot of you guys do not. But this is a story time on how I contracted HIV.
And I will be skipping certain
So,
parts to kind of move things right
two
along.
jobs. She was a CNA during the day, and at night she was during the day she worked at Walmart, and at night she was a CNA. So the only time I saw my mom was sleep when I'm leaving out to go to school. I would like to give a little bit of background that played a part into how hypersexual I was, other than the fact that my father was not in the home.
Right.
From the time that I could remember, literally from my very first memories, is one of my cousins coming in my room and laying down with me.
Okay, so off the rip, the dad's not in the house. It sounds like the situation is about to be a SA situation with the cousin. So this is already pretty bad.
Up until the point that I was 9 and my cousin was unalived in a drive-by. At 11, I found myself having intercourse with other cousins my age because
Okay,
of what was happening to me. So we thought that it was normal. At 12, I was
crazy.
full on masturbating, and at 13, I lost my virginity to a 17-year-old young man. By the time that I was 15, I had almost over 11 bodies. At
That's crazy to
14,
admit on the internet,
15, at
but
15 years old,
either
I
here nor
had
there.
almost 11 bodies. I started high school in 2010. I would say that I went crazy. My mom was never at home. Everyone knew that you could come to my house at night if you wanted to have intercourse with this person. You want to link up, and your parents.
All right, so I'm gonna stop it right here because you can blame the SA situations on your cousins who obviously put you in a bad predicament and did things to you that they shouldn't have. But then the part where you say you went crazy and you started doing the most, that's within your control. And then if you're inviting people over to continue to do the most, that's a little much there.
Parents not doing it at your house, you could come to my house, because my mom again was never at home because she was always working, trying to provide for me. At 16, I caught chlamydia. That was my very first STD. At 16, I caught chlamydia. At 17,
Okay.
I was full on doing orgies. I was getting trains ran on me.
Oh man.
And at 18, at this point,
This is confusing to me because if you caught chlamydia at 16 or whatever age she was, 16, 17, something like that, isn't that like a sign to chill out? I think that that's like the first stop sign. Like, yo, I need to slow down, or I need to stop this completely. But to continue to feed into the behavior is not making any sense to me. And then it's like afterwards, the person decides to double down. And I'm not trying to like make her out to be evil. I'm just saying like this just doesn't make sense.
it is 2013 going into 2014 of my senior year. A young boy moved from Detroit. No, he moved from Atlanta. I lied. He had roots in Detroit. He moved from Atlanta, and we clicked really fast. We were in the same homeroom together, and we just clicked. So I ended up skipping a grade because I was, even though I was out here in the streets, your girl,
All right,
because we
so
related so much with our parents working a lot, and we just bonded. And I could honestly say at this age that I am now, that's the only, at that age then, That was the only man that I felt like loved me. That was the only man that just truly, honestly loved me.
Okay, yeah, she's still
So,
talking about the same dude.
in December of our senior year on Christmas, he asked me to be his girlfriend. I said yes, of course. I never had a boyfriend before because, again, I grew up in a very small town. All of us went to the same high school. Our graduating class was maybe 280 people. I grew up in a very conservative
And I
household
also,
also.
hold on a second.
So,
I also have to say this: all the boys that was in class with him warned him about what type of woman she was portraying herself to be. I'm not even gonna say what type of woman she was because I don't know this lady and I've never met her, but I'm just saying by her actions, the people in the class with him was telling him what type of woman she was portraying herself to be. So everything that follows this is definitely his fault.
you know, it was, I was just happy to have a boyfriend. So in February, I ended up getting accepted to Georgia State, which is out in Atlanta. He told me he didn't want to go to college. I had partial scholarship. I had 50% scholarship. And
And
again,
that's
because my
irrelevant.
mother, I live in an impoverished neighborhood, put me through college. So we ended up moving in with his folks. And within, it's two Cardinals. Within 2 months of us being in Atlanta, we ended up finding a
Sorry.
house and we moved out. So I'm just focusing on at this point, I'm just focusing on my schools and my studies. But he is trying to keep his head above water because, again, he's not making money because he's new to the trade and he's trying to put me through school. So I ended up meeting this girl who told me, like, she heard me on the phone talking to him about how I wasn't going to be able to go to school next semester because of the simple fact that I'm not going to have the money to. Even though I got 50% scholarship, I'm not going to have the money to. So she asked me to come out to the club and see if I like it.
Okay, so she meets a girl. She asks her to come out to the club, see if she likes it. This is the main reason why men do not want their wife, their women, around other women or men, for that matter of fact, if they're easily influenced. Because this lady convinced this lady to go to a strip club. Now, mind you, she's not going there to hang out. She's going there to work. So all it took was a 2-second conversation. She ain't say she knew this lady for weeks and months, and she barely knew this lady. She just approached her and said, "Come to the strip club." Excuse me. Red flag number 50, because this doesn't make any sense. If you're, I understand money, and I get at one point there was a lot of money in strip clubs. You're trying to make enough money to go to college. That's not going to be a good idea. Then you're in a relationship with somebody who cares about you. How you going to explain to this man that that's the situation? Let's see what happens.
And she was like, you got you got a body for it. A lot of people paying for that body. Just come out to the club. And if you don't like it, that's cool. If you do, then you win. That's how I put myself through school. At night I go to the strip club. During the day I come to school. And she told me, like, keep your head on the swivel. Do not get in anything. Stay out of the mix. Mind your business. Situation that I'm in now. My first night in it was amateur night. Literally my first night, it was a Friday. If y'all don't know, in like 20 at this point it is 20. Dang, my memory is so bad. I did take gymnastics for for the
Oh, this is
$1,000.
irrelevant.
I was able to come home, pay rent,
Oh,
and
let's see.
$3,000.
Okay,
I
so
was
she
able
made
to
$3,000.
come home, pay rent, and be able to pay down on my next semester so I could continue to go to school. My boyfriend did not know where I was getting this money from, and quite frankly, I was not ready to tell him, like, I'm a stripper.
Listen, the boyfriend should have definitely been a lot more intrusive when it comes to large amounts of money that you getting. Because where are you getting it from? I need an answer, and this I don't. In my opinion, I don't think that that's a controlling thing to ask about, especially if you and somebody else is making a life together, and all of a sudden, you go from being broke to all of a sudden having thousands of dollars, and you don't have a job. Nah, that's got to be illegal activity. So I'm gonna start asking questions. But this guy just, I guess, let it slide. I don't know how to. That's crazy.
So I didn't tell him. Which now that I'm thinking about it, I wish I would have told him, because I feel like he probably would have picked up another job to. I wish I feel like he would have picked up another job to.
Yeah, no.
And maybe $30,000 that summer. That summer alone, I brought in a good $30,000. So at this point, I want to say it is 2015 or 2016, and my boyfriend asked me like, "Hey, I'm not trying to be in your business, but like, you don't work, where you get this money from?" And I told him like, I'm in a strip club. That caused a big argument, and I was telling him like, "Babe, you don't understand. Like, I could put both of us through school with this money that I make."
Now, mind you, remember that the dudes who warned him about her in high school, they were warning him about her being promiscuous. This follows down the same line of being promiscuous. Working in the strip club. I mean, everybody's heard the stories. Now, I'm not saying everybody is into the backroom shenanigans, but I really don't know. I'm not into that lifestyle, but let's continue.
You don't understand. And he was like, "I don't trust it. Like, you need to get out of strip club. If I need to get a second job, then I would." And I was telling him like, "No,
Look,
you're
there
good.
goes
You're
another.
good." So
There goes another way out.
He ended up telling
she still
me,
ain't
like,
want to take the way out.
"You can continue to strip, but I'm going to come to you. I'm going to come to the club with you every night. That's what I'm going to do." So he ended up coming to the club with me every night, except for one Friday. He did not come because he had to work. And I met a guy named Red. Me and Red hit it off pretty fast. I mean, we hit it off really fast. To that night, like, we ended up having sex that night.
Listen, there we go again. So the boyfriend is trying to, make a better life for you. He already seen where this was headed, which is why he started going to the club, even though he still let her do her thing, which he shouldn't have. But even though he still let her do her thing, he should have just backed off. But he still let her do her thing and decided to go to the club. And look what ends up happening. She ends up sleeping with another guy. On the first night, mind you. Which means that could have been anybody. It could have been in any situation. That's crazy.
And he was taking a lot of my time, because he was, at this point, I was no longer, basically, I wasn't stripping. I was just a sugar baby for him. He was telling me like, "Hey, you don't have to be in the clubs no more. You come and you let me do what I need to do to you, and that's gonna be the end of the conversation. Whatever you make in that club, I'll give you tenfold." So it started turning into a regular thing between us. Every Monday through Friday, Saturdays and Sundays, I didn't work at the club, because those were the days that my boyfriend was off, so he wanted me off those days too. Monday through Friday, I would tell my boyfriend like I was at the club, because at that point he stopped coming to the club with me, because I told the security guard not to let him in, because it was a whole situation with a girl boyfriend coming in there and like dragging her off the stage. So
I want to get to the point. Let me see if I can get to the point.
He started going hard, and at that point, I've never done.
Okay, hold on. There you go.
And then Red threw a stack of money on the bed and told me, "Bend over."
Wait, before that.
And then Red.
Come on.
And how do I put this? They started kissing in front of me, and then they started having intercourse with one another.
When she says they, she's talking about the Red dude. He's got another dude with him.
And then Red threw a stack of money on the bed and told me bend over, and he opened my bare back, my butt open, and he started going hard. And at that point I've never done anal before. So that was
So
a new experience for me.
I'm gonna skip past this to
What's wrong with
more
you?
important
You know,
information.
it doesn't, at that point, like, it's not registering for me to go get tested. So I'm not going to go get tested because I'm like, I just got tested.
Skip, let me skip.
My sugar daddy called me and he goes, you need to go get tested. I told him, like, I just got tested or whatever. And in the middle of me telling him I just got tested, I'm seeing Atlanta Medical Center call me. And they're like, hey, Miss Price, we need to call you in. We need to bring you in. We think we gave you a false positive, a false negative. So I went back in. At this point, my heart is racing because I don't even know how to tell my boyfriend, who has been supporting
So
me and loving me, that I have HIV and I possibly gave it to him and am going to ruin his life because of my greed.
okay, so she takes accountability in that situation, which I find like after all is said and done, there were so many ways that you could have stopped this. At so many points, you could have just been like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna go do something else." It wasn't until the HIV diagnosis that things became real for this person, and there's so many signs before this that we've already pointed out. There were so many things that you could have not done. I think people really need to take heed to that, like that the ideology. Like you can just not do stuff. I promise you, you can. Like this doesn't make sense. It's almost like, and then the fact that the boyfriend seen it coming, not the HIV aspect of it, but he just seen what was about to happen.
In my lust. So I went into the hospital. They ran a few more tests. They told me we'll contact you in a few more days. At that point, I'm just like, how do I tell him? How do I tell him? How do I tell him? A day before I got my results in, he came home and he asked me, do you have HIV? I told him no. I'm showing him the paperwork. And he goes, Selena, I've never been with anybody but you. So again, I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you have HIV and who are you sleeping with? I told him, like, I don't have it. I'm showing him the test results. He go again, Selena.
You know what's crazy about this? The guy never even got the opportunity to be out there like that. Like he really gave his everything. And I'm not trying to make him sound like he's better than her. But at the end of the day, he gave his everything to this one person, put all bets on this one person. And look at the outcome of how, whether it be on purpose or by mistake, if you want to call it that, things ended up turning out for him. That's crazy.
I've never slept
Life
with
ruined.
anybody
Done.
but
He's
you.
cooked.
Who have you been sleeping with? And I finally broke down. I told him, like, I was having intercourse with a man named Red at the club, and one thing led to another. And I said, they told me I was I'm HIV positive, but because I ruined his life, I ruined my boyfriend's life because I was chasing money, and he told me I didn't have to do that because I had hypersexuality
And
built in me.
look at the fact he told her she didn't have to do that. We already went over that, but I just got to keep driving the nail home. Like he tried to prevent it from happening, and she didn't care. You could say you cared, but your action showed I don't really care. I'm gonna just do what I want.
And I was chasing lust and a feeling, and I didn't have to do that. And I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried. So
That's one
I ended
last
up
thing I
coming
want to
home.
show.
He called me. He like, hey, did your results come in today? I told him, yeah, I do have HIV. He told me, like, you ruined my life. And he was like, you know, the least you could do is show me who this dude is, tell me who he is. So he came over and I showed him
Crazy work.
the dude. And he takes the phone and he like, I know you lying. And I said, that's Red. And it was his father.
Look at that.
I was sleeping with his father. And
That's
he ended up telling
insanity,
his
bro.
mother about it. His mom told him the reason why they broke up was because she caught him in bed with a man. He been HIV positive. He gave her HIV. So
Crazy work.
I was wondering how I kept.
And look how life all comes full circle with that situation. Everything came full circle. Either way, though, y'all can check out the video. It'll be in the description. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be notified the next time that I upload. You know, y'all stay blessed. Join the Discord. The link will be in the bio. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.